A cratering economy. A soaring trade deficit, the highest since 2008. A record budget deficit, the worst since World War II. And a ballooning public debt. So much winning. In August, the U.S. trade deficit in goods swells to a whopping $82.9 billion. The worst trade deficit since the 2008 recession. The Commerce Department reports U.S. trade is in a deep deficit. The worst we've seen since the recession in 2008. And for the month of July, the Commerce Department reported that the gap between what America buys from other countries and what it's selling grew by a record amount, totaling more than $63 billion. That's nearly 19% higher than just a month before. Trade wars were supposed to be easy to win. How is that China deal working out? How comes our trade deficit continues to climb year by year, and month after month? How's that trade war going? 4 years later, billions of dollars in bailouts. American farmers suffering for nothing. Small family farms have been wrecked. The farm bailouts went to millionaire farmers. So much for bringing all that manufacturing back home and eliminating the trade deficit. Where are all these jobs that would be coming back to the US so we would not have to import much of what we need? Evidently, those tariffs are having no effect, and those trade deals we renegotiated were useless. The tax cut for the wealthy and the corporations were useless too. A tariff is a consumer tax, not a producer's tax. The tariff taxed the people of America. Despite promising to cut the U.S. trade deficit in the 2016 election campaign, Donald Trump must now grapple with an even larger gap, after 2 years of tariffs and the escalating trade war with China. Meanwhile, China has announced TikTok is now on a list of Chinese companies prohibited from exchanging technology with the U.S. The U.S. international trade deficit jumped again in August. Advance Indicators. The Census Bureau reported on advance economic indicators for August. Advance international trade in goods. The U.S. trade deficit in goods climbs 3.5% in August to record $82.9 billion. The U.S. trade deficit surged 18.9% in July to $63.6 billion from an upwardly revised $53.5 billion in June. This is the widest trade deficit since 2008. Exports of goods for August were $118.3 billion, $3.2 billion more than July exports. Imports of goods for August were $201.3 billion, $6 billion more than July imports. Advance wholesale inventories. Wholesale inventories for August, adjusted for seasonal variations but not for price changes, were estimated at an end-of-month level of $637 billion, up. Imports of foreign goods such as autos and consumer goods climbed 3.1% in August to $201.3 billion and returned to pre-pandemic levels. The same can't be said for exports. The snapback in imports shows Americans are more willing to buy more cell phones, BMWs, and other goods they've long sought from overseas suppliers. Imports sank early in the pandemic due to disruptions in global trade and depressed demand after millions of Americans lost their jobs. There's a strong correlation between Amazon's success and the number of imports. Not to mention declines in foreign investment into the US. But as long as the US can pay with paper dollars, which can be produced at essentially zero cost, it's a good deal. We'll see how long that lasts. In trade, you only need two players, one is willing to buy, and one is willing to sell. Nobody, I mean absolutely nobody, is forcing America to buy anything from China. Therefore, if the USA insists on balancing the trade, then just stop buying goods from China instead of demanding China to buy more from us. We know that Boeing 737 MAX planes are simply unsafe. Otherwise, I bet China would have bought them to reduce our trade deficit. The ultimate solution is for the USA to step up to the plate by manufacturing something that other countries want. Wake up, America. Welcome back.
Welcome to Black Insider Report. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, like, and share.